Good morning. Welcome to Sharon Southern Style. This morning we're going to be talking about comfort food with everything that's going on right now. I think one of the things we need is it's just something to make us feel good and happy. And one of the ways to do that, especially if you have kids at home, husband at home, is to give them something really good to eat at dinner time or lunchtime. And we're going to be doing a sandwich. I know you say I make sandwiches all the time, but this is a sandwich. This sandwich is something I served about 5 years ago to someone, and they still talk about it. So I'm going to tell you this is a really good sandwich. But to go with the sandwich, we're going to do some chicken and noodles in the crock pot, and it is the simplest, easiest thing I've ever done. My mother-in-law used to make chicken and noodles from scratch. Boil the chicken, make the noodles, and it was heaven on earth. But she used an eggshell and a coffee cup to measure her ingredients, and I could never master the silky, perfect noodles that she made. So I went to an easy way, and this is delicious. Never had anybody not want to eat it, and I think you can master it in just a minute. One of the things we're going to use to do this is, like I say, our crock pot, and the best invention that was ever made are crock pot liners. If you haven't used them, I highly recommend them. It makes cleanup a snap, and especially if you're doing something like Velveeta dip and it gets crusted on and baked on, and it's just a horrible mess to get off. Well, use this and you peel it off, throw it away, rinse your crock pot, and you're done. So I've already added the liner to my crock pot, and the recipe calls for frozen chicken, and I know some people have a problem with frozen chicken in the crock pot. I have never had a problem doing it this way, and it's just so easy and effortless, and you just take it out of the freezer and in it goes in a kind of a clump, but nonetheless, there it is. That's our chicken. We'll be using 3 cans of chicken broth, or you can use one of these big containers, either a chicken stock or chicken broth, and 10 ounces of water. So I've already got that ready off camera. We also use 2 cans of cream of chicken soup. You can use the low fat, you can use the regular. I've used both, had really good results. It uses 1 stick of butter. Now here I'm going to kind of deviate. I've used a stick of butter. I thought it was too much. You slice it up. So I used a half stick and sliced it into small pieces, and we'll put that in last. And then the last ingredient, simple, is a package of egg noodles. Now you can use whatever brand you like. I happen to like these. They cook up well, but it calls for an entire 12-ounce package. I don't use a 12-ounce package because I like a lot of broth. So I use half. But if you want a full package or 3/4 of the package, make it to your taste. That's the whole secret of this. You make it the way you like it. It also calls for poultry seasoning. I've used it. I don't find that it makes a difference to me personally. I like it without. If you want a little more of a chicken flavor, use it, but be very, very careful with it, because too much of it gives it a very unpleasant flavor. My husband made it once, and he thought a little is good, a lot is better. A lot was not better. We really didn't like it at all. So we went back to the way that I'd been making it, and everything was fine. So let me step away. I'll get the mixture of the broth and the soup. And I've already whisked it together, and then you just simply pour it over. Now, because these boxes only come in 32 ounces, and you really need 42 ounces, I'm just adding 10 ounces of water. It won't really affect the flavor at all. And now we add the butter. It is an easy, quick add. You just put it in however you want. There's no way to mess this one up. You just plop it in. Add the lid. Now the noodles will not go in right now. The noodles go in at the very end of your cooking time. So I'm going to cook this on high, but you know, generally I'll make it on low. I'll just put it on in the morning before I go to work. It goes to heat, to warm at some point. This crock pot is a wonder. It is Wi-Fi enabled. So I'm at work, and if I feel like I'm running a little early, I'll turn the heat up to high. If I'm running late, I'll put it on warm to keep it warm until I get there. After you've cooked, you take the chicken out, you shred it, and you put it back in and add your noodles. And we'll be doing that just as soon as it's finished cooking. So we're going to switch over now and make the sandwich. Soup and sandwich, can't beat that. Okay, so we're going to open up our bread, and I'm using a basil garlic pesto. I happen to like Berea. There are a million different kinds out there, or even better, make your own. Maybe on a later episode we'll make basil. I like basil walnut pesto with garlic, and maybe we'll try making some of that. But right now, this is what I got, so that's what we're going to use. If anyone has been to the grocery store in the last week or so, you know getting things is a challenge, no matter what it is. So I was happy to get this. And you take I poured off the oil on the top. I don't care to have that much oil in it. It makes your bread a little bit soggy, so you just pour it off and keep on going. So I'm going to take this and just spoon it out. I usually use about half on top, half on bottom. Spread it out. It sounds really strange by using this. You can also use a olive pesto. I've done that as well, and that's good too. You spread it on. This is just going to keep your sandwich nice and moist and add so much flavor to it. Just get that on there. Spread it out. My family loves this. It's one of their favorites. They request it. So, and my son-in-law loves this, but he was not a pesto fan until I started eating this, and now he's a big pesto fan. So you've got an onion sliced very thin, and when I say thin, I mean thin. You don't want to eat just a huge chunk of onion, and the same thing with your tomato. As much tomato, as much onion as your family prefers. I've got ham, smoked turkey, and a Cajun roast beef that's going on, and I used a creamy, buttery Haverty cheese, which is a great accompaniment to this. It just adds a lot of flavor. So the thing you do is it's easy. You take the roast beef. Now this is a hot sandwich, in case you're wondering. So we are going to wrap it in foil, and we will put it in the oven so that everything gets hot and toasty, and it keeps the flavor in really nice, and it's just a huge meal. Let's just put it that way. It's a meal in itself. So we're going to add all this meat. I have to say, I'm not a big sandwich person because I'm not a big bread person, but this is a great sandwich for a crowd. If you have football, you know, you're having people over for a Super Bowl party, or you're just watching college football during the fall and everybody loves that, then you'll want to make one of these because it serves up so easy, and you can make it ahead of time. Some cheese. Let's see, put it this way. Make sure it's overlapping a little bit so you can get a lot of cheese on there. Then you take your thin onion and just kind of place it on there. Don't put whole slices. I don't like a huge mouthful of onion, although I know I'm alone in that because my son-in-law will eat this. Like, he'll eat a whole onion all by itself. But just add your onion, add your tomato. Keep that onion on there. Now, normally I would make a couple of these. If I'm making them, let's just make a bunch, you know. But the bread kind of was my issue. Use any kind of bread. You know, your family will love it, no matter what it's like. And there it is. Now, is that beautiful? Now we're going to wrap this in foil. We're going to put it in the oven at 350 for about 30 minutes because you want it heated pretty much through. and it'll be delicious. We've cooked the 4 chicken thighs in our crock pot along with the soup mixture for about 4 hours. You can cook it 8 hours on low, of course. I cooked it with skin on, and the reason I like that is because I think skin gives it a great deal more flavor. But you just take that off before you shred the chicken, and as you shred, these just happen to be also bone in, and we'll just take that meat off that bone and set the skin aside and shred it just a little bit so that it's not too much, not too big. You want it to kind of be bite size. We're going to go ahead and add this back to our broth. The crock pot is still on high, so you want to put this in and then add the noodles. Now, as I said before, I only use about half the bag, a little more than half, because I don't want them to be too dry, which is kind of what happens if you use the whole package. If you want to add any more liquid, would not add it now, would have added it in the beginning. But now you cook that for another 45 minutes, but I cut that back to 40. Again, I don't like my noodles to be quite so done, but you just cover it back up and let it cook for another 45 minutes. Okay, we've got our sandwich wrapped in foil and ready to go into a 350-degree oven for about 30 to 35 minutes, depending, of course, on your oven temperature and how well it holds. But just pop it in, and in 30 minutes, we'll be ready to have dinner. Okay, we've baked our sandwich now for 35 to 40 minutes. I have the chicken and noodles. They are hot, steaming, and ready to dish up. Here's our sandwich, which is absolutely beautiful. It's gonna make a great main dish, dinner, lunch, whatever works for you. Slice this up, it's very hot. Final product: chicken and noodles and a great pesto sandwich, layered sandwich. I think anyone's going to love this. Try it sometime on a game night or a family night and enjoy.